Well, in a daytime TV exclusive, Giselle's daughter, Caroline, has decided to share her side of the harrowing story and the impact of her father's crimes. Just a warning that we're going to be discussing themes of sexual violence which some viewers may find upsetting. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning.
It is impossible for us to fathom what it is that you have been through and your family have been through because of your father's actions. But with the book, you're sort of addressing that, trying to help us understand. Why was it important that you wrote the book?
Because, you know, I just wanted to share our own story, which is not an isolated case. I mean, chemical submission, you know, I discovered back in 2020 that it's more widely used, probably in France, but also in Europe, we have several, probably southern cases. And so it's important to drive awareness about, because chemical submission, it's a real health public issue, I'm convinced, and now we know.
So let's go back to 2020 when suddenly you found out what it was that your father had done. I imagine that day plays over in your memory, trying to make sense of hearing the accusation at the time and the reality that we now know. What was that moment like for you, Caroline?
I was devastated. Back 2020, it was a Monday, November the 2nd, when my mom called me. She had to tell me that my father drugged her over the past 10 years for raping her by, strangers. And I realized that I didn't know my beloved father.
And this kind of came about almost, it was a complete surprise because your father had been arrested in a supermarket.
He was arrested for obscuring,
taking photographs
against three women. He photographed 3 women and they took charges to him. So they probably, without knowing, saved my mom.
Yes, definitely.
Because thanks to this first complaint, the police officer had to investigate, his own mobile and different kind of computers and so on. And so they discovered more than 20,000 videos and photographs of sexual abuse. I mean, seeing my mom with different kind of men. So it was a shock. And, they were totally astounding by this affair in France. Because it was the very first time that it happened.
Yes. Did you ever suspect anything at any stage? Did your mum's behaviour change? Did you ever think that she was being drugged?
We, the children, my 2 brothers and me, we were really afraid because we knew that there is something wrong with my mom.
Yes.
Sometimes we had her on the phone and she was like a big... she didn't get... she had like incoherent behavior over the phone. She talked in a different way. She was like... She didn't seem in her right mind. But we were far from this reality. Yeah.
I think your fear was dementia, wasn't it? Or something...
We were afraid that she had a brain... We thought about a brain cancer. We thought about, Alzheimer. We thought that maybe she was starting like having a demential disease. But how could we think about that?
There's a description in the book where you're at dinner and you said it was almost as though the battery was taken out of her, that the plug was pulled out almost.
She was here without being here.
Yes.
Like she was not, she was falling.
Yeah.
She was totally, she was here and my brothers, saw her falling at the table. It was really weird,
Caroline, was there ever anything for you, your brothers, your family, that would mean you were suspicious of your father's behaviour at any point until that moment where these 3 women had accused him of upskirting and had been arrested? Had any of you had any sense that your father had this peculiarity that meant he would behave like this?
Believe me, I was so close from my father. I was the only girl, daughter of this family. You know, I trust him 100%. I never saw him, staring at a woman. Never, ever. He had some, respectful comment about women. So when we discovered that as a children, all our worlds collapsed. All our foundation fell down.
And then when you had to what you write about in the book is the first time you took a look at a photograph and you could only bear to look at one. You couldn't look at any more after that. How did you feel when you saw that? Did your brain try and make sense of the situation? Do you remember?
It was like kind of a dissociated? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah. I was in a state of a shock.
Yeah.
And you have to realize the reality of what you are saying, but it's too much. It's too violent. It's crazy. So, but the worst thing, to be honest with you, is to discover that you are betrayed by one of the most important men in your own life. For my mom, it was her husband. Now they got divorced. But me, it was my father. I got his DNA.
Yeah, you put it so well in the book when you say, I was the daughter of the victim and the tormentor. To me, I find that very difficult to even think about.
You have to split in two.
Yeah. I don't know how you
I don't know how to cope with that.
No.
Still. It's still, it's not because the trial is over that all of this process is over for us as a children. It's really difficult to build that on our shoulder because it's our own legacy.
One of the things that was remarkable was your mother waiving her right to anonymity and being so brave and showing so much courage to stand there every day in that trial, to see those images, to see those videos, to see the men that perpetrated those crimes against her. How did you feel watching your mum stand there and sort of so bravely take on board what had happened to her?
To me, and I think, for us as children, she's a hero. Because, she is 72 years old. She came every single day during 4 months, facing her abuser, sexual abuser, facing Dominique. She has a tremendous courage. We are really proud of her.
I bet. But I understand that she also struggled to make sense of the man that she loved, her husband, the father of her most important possessions, her children. She struggled to make sense of what he'd put her through and what he put you all through as well.
It's difficult for her, I think, to see him as he is. He is a pervert. He is a deviant. So when you live with someone as she did, for almost 50 years of togetherness, For her, it's still difficult to imagine that it is possible. So we are in a different position with my mom.
So your relationship with your mum has distanced slightly?
Yes. We have to rebuild each other, in a different way.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we can't help each other.
Yeah. I think also it must have really changed your perceptions of your childhood as well. Because now having this knowledge that you have, which is horrifying, it must then reframe every single memory you have, as right from being a little girl to your age now.
Yeah, because, when I look back, I don't see all the things. To me, it wasn't true. It wasn't true because, we know now that Dominique didn't start back in 2011. Now we know his, our own journey started, back in the 19s. And I was 20, So when I look back at all of these memories, to me, it's not true.
Yeah.
He's a liar. He's a manipulator. And as a children, as a daughter, I can't see, you know, my life before as I thought it was.
Of course, of course.
And it's not just you as a daughter either. You've got a son too. How do you approach that, you know, talking to him about it? How do you approach it with a level of honesty, but not frightening him too much?
With simple words.
Yeah.
He was his grandfather. He really loved him, but we have the responsibility to tell him the truth.
Yes.
So we try to find the best words for a 6-year-old child at this stage, at the moment of our life.
Don't know how you.
And then, you know, with the trial, now he's 10 and understood. He knows that he's never see him again. And to be honest with you, he told us quite recently that it doesn't exist anymore for him.
Really? So he's adjusted already? Yeah. The most recent update is that you now personally are pressing charges against your father for chemical submission and also for raping you too. So you have discovered evidence that you believe points to the fact that he did this to you as well.
I know. I knew right from the beginning.
Really?
But you know, in France, this is the public prosecutor's officers who lead the complaint. And right from the start, they decided to focus on my mother because all the evidence were on the table. But I know that he drugged me and he probably did a lot more. So I decided during this trial, because I understood I was an invisible victim and I'm the daughter. So I need to get the truth. I don't know what it's, you know, what it's going to be the next steps.
Sure.
But at least I'm aligned with myself because I know that it's happened something wrong before and after those 2 pictures. Well, I'm not sleeping, I'm sedated.
In the same position.
In the same position
as your mother.
as my mother. You know, there are
It's
so
something
many...
something he's always denied. And the spokesperson, we just need to do this for the National Police in France, said as an investigation is currently underway, they were unable to respond to the scenario right now for you.
He lied. He lied each time. He did several versions. We can't, you know, during this trial, it's a shame because, you know, we didn't get any clear answer from him.
The frustration of that will be intolerable. But I wonder, though, Caroline, how you see the future, how you and your brothers and your son and your family and your mother will get beyond this. Do you have hope that you will be able to get beyond it?
I don't want to talk for my mum or even for my 2 brothers, but for me, I think that hopefully and frankly, I hope this new complaint is going to be taken seriously. And otherwise, you know, my life goes on. I'm a mum, I'm working, I'm committed to that cause, chemical submission. I'm not pretending that I'm going to save everyone, but I'm just trying to drive awareness and to make people understand that it does exist.
Yes.
And that you, as a victim, if you have a doubt, investigate the doubt.
Thank you for coming on to the show. And thank you for being so brave. And I think your mum is just, as you said, to use your words, a hero.
She's a hero.
Oh, hello.
Thank you for
visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Now, it's a condition that affects more than 1 million people in this country, yet obsessive-compulsive disorder is still widely misunderstood, and it's a condition that our next guest has been learning to live with since childhood.
Yeah, starring in hit TV shows, including, of course, Downton Abbey, Tuppence Middleton appeared to be the epitome of confidence. But behind the scenes, her life was controlled by terrifying, intrusive thoughts and repetitive, compulsive rituals.
Now Tuppence has opened up about the extent of her condition for the first time in her new memoir, Scorpions.
And as she's preparing to take to the West End stage again tonight, Tuppence has taken a break from her busy schedule to tell us more about the book. Firstly, you started last night in The Years, which I saw on Saturday. I'm still reeling from.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Okay, I think I had a great time. I think you spend so much energy being hyper-focused before your first performance, so you sort of don't really think about anything else, just getting through to the end of the play. But it's such a supportive company, and it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I just felt very supported.
It's an extraordinary experience watching it. We'll come and talk about that a little bit later on, because, of course, we also want to talk about your book.
Yeah, Scorpions. Yeah, it's so brave and open and honest. And what I like most about it is, even if you don't suffer from OCD yourself at all, your writing makes you go to that place. You can absolutely empathise with exactly what you're going through. Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I think I'd read books on OCD which had felt quite statistical and sort of removed, and I really wanted for people to feel like they were inside the head of someone with OCD, for it to feel immersive, so you could understand the thought processes. And I think we have a very sort of generalised, often trivialised version of what OCD is.
Yeah.
And whether that's people thinking, oh, I like order and cleanliness. I wanted people to understand the sort of the bit before that, the bit before the compulsions. What happens in your head? Why do I have to count to 8? Why do I have to touch these things a certain amount of times? Why do I have this sort of reassurance-seeking behaviours? And for someone who doesn't have OCD, I wanted to give them more of an understanding. But if you do suffer with it, I also sort of wanted to provide a little bit of hope.
It was so clever, actually.
Yeah.
The Scorpions,
That's an idea.
the idea of that, it allows the reader to get hold of exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I think often people like to sort of name their OCD, they either as a sort of singular entity or something else. But for me, it always felt like this sort of crawling, sinister presence, and the thoughts and the way that they change and the speed that they move. The idea of scorpions crawling around in my head was something that always struck a chord.
How did it start, Tuppence?
Well, I think it started really after I had a prolonged illness as a child. I had chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, as it's also known. And I was constantly nauseous. I lost a lot of weight. I was very tired. I couldn't get out of bed. And that lasted for a few months. And when I finally recovered, I started to get symptoms of OCD and perform these sort of checking behaviours and a lot of counting rituals. So I would look at things in my room which were square and count the corners to a count of 8. And then it would be checking certain things in the kitchen, checking door handles, worrying about getting sick, which was a huge drive, I think, as a carry through from my illness, that I'd had this prolonged nausea and never had any resolution. So I think that turned into emetophobia, which I talk a lot about in the book, which is a fear of vomiting, and that drives a lot of those cleanliness compulsions.
And did it kind of spiral out of control pretty quickly? Because what you're talking about was when you were about 10 or 11.
Yeah.
You stopped going to school. Your mum must have been so upset and terrified, not knowing exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Did it spiral out of control fairly quickly, or did you get some help? And how long did it take you to get the diagnosis?
It was quite gradual. I mean, it was something that we initially went to our GP about when I was 11 or 12, when it first started to show up. And then I sort of managed it through school. And the thing about OCD, which I think is quite difficult and which I wanted to shed light on, is that it's such a private thing, because so much of it is internal thinking, then you can hide it from people. And a lot of my checking behaviours revolved around my home. So once I had kind of left a place of responsibility, I suppose, then it was much easier to cover it up. So it was at its worst in my early and mid-20s, when I was sort of studying, but then just after that, when I'd started working the first few years after drama school. And then I sought various different types of help. I tried CBT therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy. I was on medication for 2.5 years, which was an antidepressant often prescribed for OCD. And then eventually I had a course of talking therapy as I was coming off medication, which was the thing that helped me the most. But it's so individual, I think.
So individual. You're a mum now as well, and you work in a world which is very high profile professionally.
Yeah.
And you have to mix with all sorts of people with demands on your time, like performing live on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it manifest itself now, Tuppence? How do you navigate being a mum? Because little kids can be ill.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So that was a really difficult thing. And I think people with OCD often don't even get pregnant because they're worried about morning sickness or they're worried about what happens when they have children and those children pick up bugs as they inevitably do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of preparation is involved. There's two sides to it, I suppose. You have this distraction which requires a lot of your focus. So in that respect, sometimes it can distract me from routines and rituals that I set up, which is a great thing. And then on the other hand, there is this huge anxiety about, going to a soft play or going to nursery and picking up bugs. And so then I have these sort of kits which I built in case she gets ill. And I have a very understanding partner. And it's a lot about preparing yourself for those situations.
Being organised.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so tricky, I think, to manage it within society too, and people's perceptions of it, because we've seen interviews that you've done where people sometimes just trivialise it, actually.
Yeah.
You received a mug as a present.
Yeah, which said obsessive compulsive on it.
Yeah.
And something that I talk about in the book too, I find it hard to imagine someone having a mug with PTSD written on it. It's a mental health condition, and it's just because there are elements of it which may seem kind of ludicrous to people, then it's still very serious to the person who has it. And I think in terms of work, I now feel much more able to speak to co-stars or speak to, if I have an intimate scene with someone and tell them this is my particular anxiety and please let me know if you have any kind of contagious illness that could potentially throw up some problems.
Goodness me. It's fascinating. As Kat was saying, it's brilliant that you're talking about it so openly as well. Like, we know you professionally so open, but personally, this is the difference. We're joined as well now by psychiatrist and OCD specialist, Professor David Veal. Good morning to you, Professor David. Thank you for joining us. Can you just break down in simple terms for the layman exactly what OCD is?
Well, obsessive-compulsive disorder consists of both obsessions and compulsions. And an example of an obsession might be a fear of contamination, perhaps from germs or something, and leading to compulsive washing. Or someone else might have a doubt that they've just run over a cyclist, leading to constant checking. Someone else might have intrusive thoughts about stabbing their baby or something and having to neutralise it. So it's many different types within OCD, but the key thing is that it's very distressing, very time-consuming and interfering in one's life.
I mean, Tuppence talked about some of the treatments that she's had. Is it something that can be cured with the right treatment?
Most people can make definitely progress in terms of using both cognitive behaviour therapy, but it needs to be specific. It includes principles of facing up to your fears and being able to learn how to tolerate uncertainty. So it is tough. It requires a lot of courage. And as Tuppence says, and people with more severe problems might be helped also by medication.
And if somebody was watching the show right now and was picking up on maybe some of the symptoms that you're describing or thinking that they have those kind of thoughts, what would be your advice to them?
Well, I'd definitely seek professional help, and you can do that in the UK through talking therapies on the NHS, certainly, or you can get a referral by your GP. But, I think the message is this is something that's definitely treatable, and you can definitely make progress, even if you don't completely recover from it.
Well, thank you, Professor David. I'd imagine that you'd echo that as well, Tuppence, that you are making progress.
Yes, I think, I feel now at a position in my life where it's much more manageable, and I've learned certain ways to cope with it when I'm in more stressful periods of my life. So that's part of the reason I felt like it was good timing to write the book. I could have some perspective.
Oh, there wasn't a dry eye in any house after the embrace between Ollie and his granddad Lee, and they both join us now this morning. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. First things first, Ollie, How does it feel having finally got to show the episode where you got the golden buzzer?
It just so relieved after this. It's just amazing.
Because you did it a while ago, so you've been having to keep it a secret, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
How's that been?
So hard. It's been really, really hard.
We were watching sat at home. You were watching in your house, and I was watching with my two boys. And my boy Milo is 9, and he plays the drums. And he said, "Whatever you do, when you meet Ollie tomorrow, you've got to tell him that I love his work and that I play the drums too. And I think maybe one day there could be a band in the making." It must have been so nerve-wracking, though.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
you're
it was.
amazingly talented, but to go out in front of all of those people, what was going through your mind?
It was just, I can't even explain it. I was so nervous when I went on. But then as soon as I hit that first chord, it was just all my worries went.
You just piled into the guitar and you
Oh,
still...
yeah.
Listen, and what about you, Lee? Because I think sometimes it's harder for the person who loves the person watching them do it than it is for the actual person
It
themselves.
was quite emotional, really, and I was very nervous, but I knew the minute he hit that chord,
Yeah.
it would explode. And that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you, first of all, get Ollie into playing the guitar?
Yeah, well, I used to play when I was about 15, 16,
Right.
17, and then we stopped playing for a while. And then Ollie said to me one day, he saw a guy playing in the street.
Right.
Said, "I want to do that." I said, "OK, Gran, I'll do that. I'll get a guitar and we'll do it."
So you almost relearned at the same time.
Yeah,
as
it was quite funny. I picked it up quite quickly again, and we did 60s stuff, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
A lot of 60s stuff, you know, because I'm locked in the 60s, unfortunately, then, you know, shadow stuff and that. So we did all that because that was quite straightforward.
Yeah.
And I didn't so much teach him as I just opened the door, and out it came.
And how long was it then, Lee, before Ollie started overtaking your skill and ability?
Oh, about 10 minutes. Well, we got him out playing live in about 2 years. Wow. So he got confidence, he could play live with the 60s stuff in about 2 years. And he was starting to pass me by then. And yeah, he passed me at about 2.5 years. And he's like light years.
Flying. So, Ollie, when was it you went, right, this 60 stuff's all right, Grandad, but I want to do some rock?
Well, I heard this guy on my street, as Grandad said, and when Grandad picked up the guitar, I thought I started with the 60s stuff, and then I thought, what if I try that? I said to my mum, "Can I try rock?" And she said, "Yeah, absolutely."
I love the fact you asked permission. What a polite young man. Mum, is it all right if I try some rock? So where was your entry-level rock? Do you remember what those first few rock tunes you learnt?
It was like Highway to Hell and Smoke on
course
the
it
Wall.
was.
Of course,
Yeah.
classic.
Classics.
I love how you say he's very polite, but he's also taken over his mum's dining room. He's completely... You have, haven't you?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So,
What do you mean you've taken over your mum's dining room?
There's tons of guitars in there, tons.
Has it become a guitar emporium? I thought that was a guitar shop. That's your front room.
That's it.
Yeah,
What?
That's it.
How many guitars have you got?
just over 20, I think.
What? Why?
It's just, I don't know, every different one has an individual sound.
Of course. So you
Yeah.
have a different guitar depending on what it is that you're playing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So tell us, Ollie, now you go straight through to the semi-finals. What are you going to play there, do you think? Have you got any ideas
I can't say
yet?
exactly, and we have got ideas, but it's going to be bigger, better and louder.
Amazing. Because that moment, though, Lee, when Amanda presses the golden buzzer, was so... The look on your face as well.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like being stood at the side of the stage?
I think I just froze. I didn't really know. You know, you get that moment where you don't know what's happening. It's unreal. Well, it was unreal.
Yeah.
And you collected a few of the little bits of gold as well. You've got those.
Oh, yeah, we got
them at
those,
home,
yeah.
Ollie.
Yeah.
What have your mates made of... I mean, have you even seen half your mates since Saturday night?
I haven't seen anyone.
You haven't seen anyone?
I haven't seen a single one.
And they might be at school today. I think you were saying your teacher might have this morning on.
They might have this morning on.
If you say down camera on, is there anything you'd like to say to your classmates?
I hope you enjoyed yesterday.
Oh,
There you go.
I think if they're anything like my boys, they definitely enjoyed your performance and your granddad too. Do you think you could give us a little bit of... treat us to a little bit of a special performance?
Oh, sure, definitely.
Do you think you
Nice.
can? OK,
Yeah.
come on then, go get yourself ready. Here we go. He's just putting it on. Is he good at practising, Grandad?
Extremely good.
Is he?
He's very good. He's very dedicated.
Is he?
Very dedicated, yeah. He's,
You can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
Okay, come on then. We're ready for it.
Are you ready, Ollie? Let's go for
give it some, lad.
Give it
Come
some,
on, buddy.
lad.
I always call him buddy.
Yeah, Ollie, that was absolute. I feel like we needed smoke machines and we needed like all different stuff going on.
How many years till you take your guitar off, you finished a massive riff and you start smashing it? That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing when you know you've really got into it. Thank you so much for coming and playing and meeting us, Ollie. We're thrilled that you've got through. We can't wait to see what that live semi-final is going to be. I doubt it's going to be epic, though.
Yeah.
And well done, Lee, to you and all the family as well, because I imagine that was an emotional roller coaster for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Just the beginning of the adventure, I think.
Yeah,
Just
it is the beginning, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
thank
And
you.
also, there's quite a good football team in Wrexham as well. Have you done anything? There's a couple of Hollywood superstars that are involved.
Oh, yeah.
Have you played at Wrexham yet?
No.
A little bit of a half-time show at
Should we
Wrexham?
put a call in, maybe?
I have actually done one on the Wrexham Legends match,
On the Wrexham Legends match.
where they have played against firefighters.
Right.
And I played at half-time.
Amazing. I think you could probably do one now for this season as well, no?
I suspect so now.
They'll be in touch.
Just
we'll
the
get in
beginning.
touch with Ryan and Rob.
Definitely. We've got them on speed dial. Britain's Got Talent is taking a break this weekend for the Six Nations, so it will continue at 7 p.m. on Saturday, the 22nd of March on ITV1 and
Thank
ITV
you
X.
for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
So new government data has revealed that £9 million was lost to rental scams across the country last year.
One person that knows all too well how advanced these scams can be is 27-year-old Anna Gonzalez, who handed over £8,000 to rental fraudsters.
Anna is here alongside Alice Beer with everything we need to know to try and stay safe in this increasingly desperate rental market. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Anna, thank you so much for joining us to share your story as well. Just talk us through exactly what happened. Where were you when you started, you found yourself in the middle of this scam? What had happened?
So I was sort of desperately looking for a property because our current property, the landlords had said that they needed to sell the flat. So that was sort of the circumstance for looking, and it was over the Christmas period.
And you only had 2 months' notice, right?
Exactly, 1 to 2 months' notice. Everything is sort of shut over Christmas anyway, so we turned to Open Rent, which is a platform I've used all throughout university as a student, and I felt that it could give us a bit of an edge to talk directly to the landlord. I found a couple of properties that had actually already been leased, and then this landlord reached out to me saying that he had another property coming up, and that's the one that we went to look at.
And it was all looking very promising, wasn't it? Because, of course, you know that time is ticking. There aren't enough rental properties on the market for the number of people that need them. You knew Christmas was coming, and it was all looking quite positive.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the COVID period as well, people were signing for properties with far less information. You know, there was a kind of influx of taking videos and signing based on FaceTime, and we went to see this property. We met a man suited and booted at the property. There were about 4 or 5 other couples waiting to see it. It was in
Did you actually see them waiting to see it as well? So they were queuing up to see it?
Yeah. And so that kind of added, I think, to the competition and the
It
pressure.
adds panic.
Absolutely. So we got shown around the property. It was perfect. It was slightly out of the way, but it was in a great location. And we just thought, you've got to snap it up while you're there.
And as you say, Anna, you'd used Open Rent before previously as a student.
Yep.
Did anything at any point shout, this seems too good to be true, this feels like a fraud?
No, unfortunately. And, I even went as far as comparing the contract that we were sent side by side. I mean, there was a fake website. There were obviously multiple people involved, somebody arranging the viewing. And I think what struck me is that I think you usually think that these are quite faceless. impersonal things, but I'd built so much rapport with this person. I'd had multiple phone calls. I'd met people, his associates, on the phone and that kind of thing. So that just, you know, I didn't. Yeah, absolutely.
And so what you decided to do, obviously, because there were 5 other people in line, and you knew you were desperate and you were working under a time crunch.
Yeah.
You decided to try and give yourself the edge by saying to the estate agent, look, can we give you some rent up front? If we can jump to the front of the queue, would that work? Would that work?
Yeah.
And so you ended up parting ways with 8,100?
Yeah, exactly. It was actually my colleagues who mentioned, you know, I paid up rent up front to give me the edge. It was the only way that I could secure a flat.
I get it.
It wasn't something that I'd tried before, but at the moment, you know, the rent, people are offering more monthly rent, which over a long period of time is such an extortionate amount more.
Yeah.
So I thought, I spoke to the landlord and I said, would this help you? Would this kind of sweeten the deal?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that would be fine. I'll take it off the market.
So you send over £8,100, still completely believing that the flat's yours, probably quite excited. You've secured the flat.
Really
Totally.
Flat you like,
Yeah.
in time for Christmas.
Yeah.
When did you start thinking that things weren't quite as they seemed?
Not until the move-in date. So everything happened quite fast, which to me didn't kick up any worry because I was dealing directly with the landlord, and as far as I knew, it was a vacant property.
Yeah.
The day that we moved in, you know, I'd already started to transfer my bills over, set up, try and get ahead of the game. It was early January, the move-in date, and it got to sort of 5 o'clock on the Friday, and I hadn't heard back, but we'd been speaking in the morning. It got to sort of 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I thought, this doesn't really feel right. And I worried because the landlord had told me that he lived outside of London, and I thought, oh my goodness, what if something's happened to him?
Yeah.
So I went over to the property. I got in an Uber. I rang the bell to let someone let me in. And I knocked on the door, and somebody answered the door, and it was an Australian guy who had the property for 4 days until the Monday.
And what did he say?
He said, this is my Airbnb. This is my Airbnb. I'm staying here. I don't really know what you're talking about. I'm really sorry that this has happened.
Gosh, the panic at that point must have been terrifying.
It was, you spiral at that moment because you can't even connect any dots. And it's also, housing is kind of your safety, and it's sort of a basic need, isn't it? So it was, and also the logistics of having a moving van the next day, and yeah, it all just happened very fast.
You'd borrowed the money from your family too,
exactly.
and then all of a sudden you've suddenly got a giant gaping hole where you'd need to find somewhere else as well.
Yeah, and I think the money doesn't even come into it at that point. You know, it's such an emotional shock.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it took me a few days to even address that part.
So what did you do next? Was there any way of trying to retrieve the cash? Because you'd also got a video of the man who was posing as an estate agent.
Yeah, I called the police immediately, actually, before I'd even left the property. They sort of deferred me to action fraud, but obviously it was 7 p.m. on a Friday, and action fraud closes over the weekend. So
no fraud on the weekends.
No, exactly. So I then went back into my local branch near my family home and sort of refused to leave until someone expedited the case.
Yeah.
And then HSBC thankfully had the team, and they sent me a link, and I was able to upload about 40 documents worth of evidence, screenshots and things for them to review. And I was very lucky that they had a contingency that allowed us to get the money back.
So you got your money back.
Goodness.
But was anything taken forward by action fraud? Has anybody been held responsible for what they did to you?
No, currently no.
So they could still be doing exactly this to other people?
I don't doubt it, yeah.
Gosh, Anna, I'm so sorry. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah,
I can't. It's one of those things, Alice, isn't it, that your jaw drops because it sounds like Anna did everything she possibly could to be sure that this was a legit
Absolutely,
property.
absolutely. And we sort of almost wave it away as put it in the category of scam. This is a massive, sophisticated, brazen fraud. This is a crime, and the fact that there's been nothing followed up afterwards is really awful. You say that there was £9 million lost to rental scams last year, rental fraud last year. I think that's a huge sort of underestimate. I mean, it was much, much more than that. There's so much unreported crime. There were 5,000 cases, we know, at least. And sadly, Anna's age bracket is a bracket that take up probably half of the number of rental fraud cases. Not because they're young and naive. In fact, they're the opposite.
There's a massive
Much
bunch.
more
Savvy,
sophisticated and savvy than I am, certainly in my age group. And I wouldn't probably have thought, many people wouldn't have thought to do the checks that Anna did. But because there's this desperate gap in the housing market, there is one property for every 12 tenants looking. Wow. There's anxiety, there's desperation, and where there's anxiety, where there's desperation, that's where the fraudsters go, because that's where they know the money will be handed over sort of in anticipation quickly, and probably loops will be missed. We must look also at the part that social media has to play in this. Half of the rentals frauds out there emanate from Facebook marketplace.
Right, okay.
So you have to look at where people are finding these properties. Where Anna started was a great place. Open rent, a good, secure place to start. Where there was a slip was that Anna came off the platform to start conversations with this so-called landlord directly. Never come off a platform that you are on. Stay there because it protects you. And open rent would have protected her through those next stages. And although she got her money back, it was actually because she was forceful and thorough after the event. She may well, other people in that situation may well not have got their money back and may have been sitting here telling the story £8,100 down. So these are sophisticated, brazen crimes. They're often, the pictures of the property will often be the pictures of any random property, not necessarily even in the same country as you. So if we look at the ways that you could stop this happening to you, and Anna would have ticked many of these boxes, but many of them, not, I'm afraid. Reverse image search is the first thing to do. So you look at the property. This is how you do it on Google. You go into images and you click on reverse search. You look at the property that has come up and you find out where else it is. And you might find that it's in Australia and it's in where else. We've just picked a random one from Getty Images. You may also find, Anna would have found probably that it was on Airbnb. And then you would question, hang on, why is this on Airbnb? Or why is this here and there, and yet it's cheaper where I'm looking? Because the discrepancy in prices often indicates that they're offering you something to entice you.
I mean, to be fair to you though, Anna, you went to the property.
There was
absolutely. And there were other people there and he looked presentable.
She eyeballed the guy. He was suited and booted. I mean, it's
charming,
just
lovely,
it's unbelievable. Something I did yesterday as a little test, it took me 3 minutes as I looked up on Land Registry, cost £7. Within 3 minutes, I had the name and address of somebody. I did my own property, the name and address of a property owner. You could verify that in different ways. If you sign up to Rent Profile, they will tell you the landlord details, the bank account details, the property ownership, the history, if there's any prosecutions attached to the property, or reports from renters. Look at paying with a credit or debit card, if you possibly can. Stay on the platform. Ask for utility bills. Any landlord would have to have safety certificates in their name. If you'd asked to see them and check them against the bank account, then that would have exposed him. Also, verifying with the bank, is this account verified? Is this person legitimate? And that helped Anna. That one phone call to the bank helped Anna get her money back. But, you cannot be too careful.
How are things now? Did you eventually
find a lovely home?
Yes, thankfully. All settled.
All settled, and you feel wiser for it.
Absolutely. All my friends know.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Action Fraud, who Anna contacted, they are the people that you have to let them know when you're scammed. That's the City of London Police. They told us, we understand that people who report to Action Fraud may be disappointed if their case does not result in a criminal conviction, and too often it doesn't. However, there are a number of key outcomes which put victims first, including helping victims reclaim stolen money and providing further practical and emotional support. I think, basically, they are overwhelmed.
Of course.
Facebook also say they're continuing investing in protections against fraud on their platforms and work closely with law enforcement. They continue to work closely with Stop Scams UK to help identify scams at the source.
I wonder, Alice, because they said to you there wasn't enough evidence to go forward, didn't they? Action Fraud.
They came back to me following a more thorough investigation, a couple of years later, but didn't actually find anything more than I knew 2 years before. So they more or less said that they didn't think that they would apprehend the suspects just from what they knew.
You had phone numbers, you had 40 bits of evidence, you had email addresses. I don't know what more evidence you can give.
I think they're overwhelmed.
Yes,
Simple
for
as
sure.
that. Well, look, thank you for sharing your story. Hopefully it's going to help somebody out there this morning. Alice, thanks for all those
Oh,
tips.
hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
You don't need to watch anything else today. That's it. That's all you need. It is, of course, 8-year-old Florrie Barkey joins us alongside her parents Stacey and Andy. Hey, you three.
Welcome back.
That was like watching your greatest hits, wasn't it? It was fantastic, Florrie. It's brilliant.
You absolutely love it, don't you? Seeing yourself on your TikToks and things like that, don't you? Do you enjoy actually making those TikToks, Florrie?
Daddy likes being the director.
Daddy, you like being the director?
I like being the director.
He does like being a director.
Is he a tough director? He's like,
action.
He likes being in them.
He likes it. He really likes
And then we just spend hours afterwards rewatching them, don't we? That's where all the views come from. We just watch them ourselves.
Half of the views are us and our family. That's probably why we have that much on our TikTok now.
So the thing is, you are inspiring the nation, aren't you? Everyone is inspired by you. But obviously, it's Women's Day tomorrow. I want to know, who inspires you?
Family, my mummy and daddy, my nurses and doctors and my people who work at the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so kind, aren't they?
Yeah.
And Andrew, we have to, well, you just mentioned Mummy. Let's big up Mummy.
Friends.
She inspires. Well, it's no wonder Florence is the way she is with a mum like Florence. I just feel with a mum like Stacey. I feel sorry for our son, to be honest, because he's got to, when he's older, his wife or future wife or partner, because they've set a very high bar.
Yeah.
It's so lovely. And we've heard your charity is going to Ibiza. What's going on?
What's happening?
But
Henry's doing a walk.
Henry, man, he's doing a walk. And last year he did it, and he did it from, was it London?
From Manchester.
From Manchester to
Ibiza.
Ibiza. And he wanted a holiday, that's why.
So now he's doing it in Ibiza.
He did it last year. This year he's doing it in flip-flops, isn't he?
Yeah,
And you told him, I want you to do this for my charity, and he was like, I'm doing it.
because he saw me and that we set it high because I was cute.
You were cute.
So cute. Florrie, tell us, and Andrew, tell us about the idea to get your videos in all the NHS waiting rooms, because just a dose of joy, basically, right?
That's the plan. Yeah, we're hoping just to be able to spread more awareness about childhood cancers, but also trying to make it feel a little less scary in general, knowing that actually that hospitals don't need to be too scary. And actually, we find that other children learning about cancer from another child's perspective just seems to make it a lot less scary. Yeah.
That's important to you, Florrie, to make sure that all the other children aren't too scared, right? Yeah. Brilliant.
She's always encouraging other children as well and saying, don't be too scared. Isn't that right, Stacey?
Yeah, she hates seeing other children upset. So usually if there was a new child on the ward diagnosed, she'd be the first person that would try and speak to them and just try and reassure them, because she just hates anyone being sad, don't you?
If they cry, I cry.
You're an empath, you are. You
If they cry, I cry. It's over.
Because, Florrie, you're better now, right? So you don't have the cancer. I know you're waiting for a new lung, aren't you?
I don't have cancer anymore, but I still have to get checked to it every year.
Yeah. So do you remember, like, when you were first poorly, was it really scary at the time?
Yeah.
So when you meet the other children now, what do you say to them to try and make them not scared?
I say it's okay. They're trying to help you, and I'll be your friend.
Yeah.
And everything.
Well, you need, don't you? You need a friend, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard you've got an agent now.
What?
You'll be hitting the runway because you're a big star now. You're a big thing. What's happening with that? Are you doing some modelling or something like that?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe a film?
Maybe.
I mean, how are you...
I don't know yet.
As parents, how are you going to monitor this? Are you just going to make sure whatever makes her happy?
Yeah, I think obviously her health is our number one priority, but obviously we want her to be able to make memories that she wants to do, and anything that makes her happy within reason, we'll try and facilitate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately her health is priority. But
she's not going to Hollywood.
She can't travel there anyway right now, so no.
One day.
One day.
When you've got your new
Hollywood.
lands. Yeah.
Hollywood's calling.
Or Bollywood.
It's any of the woods.
Anyone.
Well, listen, Florrie, throughout your journey to recovery, you've been surrounded by lots of inspirational women. You've mentioned some of them, especially those who looked after you at the Sheffield Children's Hospital.
So today, we thought it'd be a nice idea, because you love them so much, we would celebrate them too. So come in, ladies.
Welcome to the show, Claire Johnson, Rachel Leonard and Yvonne Woods. Coming in.
Hello, my darling.
It's a
Hello, my little darling.
Oh,
it's really fun.
Come and sit yourselves
Come and sit down. Where's Claire?
I'll shuffle down.
Where's Claire? Hi, Claire.
Hello,
Thanks
Claire.
for coming. Nice to meet you.
She's our play therapist.
Yeah, Claire, tell us about your role. What does play therapist mean?
So I come in and keep Florrie busy when she's with us, lots of fun and activities, but we also support Florrie when she's obviously got to have procedures done, go through them in a child-friendly way using the resources that we have and distract her through those things.
It sounds like she's giving advice to other kids as well now. I mean, that's
the thing about Florrie. Although she goes through what she goes, she's always caring for the other children. She'll make them pictures and cards and other things.
That's pure. That's so inspirational. That,
yeah, she always supports everyone else as well, don't you?
What's it like seeing all these ladies here today, Florrie? What's it like?
I love it.
You love it. It's a lovely surprise. And Rachel, you're one of the nurses as well, and you say she's got a special purpose, hasn't she?
Oh, Florrie just spreads joy to
Really?
everyone. Yeah. If you're on a shift, if you're having a bad shift, you can go into Florrie's room. Even if she's in one of her sassy moods, you will still get absolute joy.
And the thing is, with your job, you can get quite close to your patients, can't you?
A lot. The type of nursing we do in haematology oncology is it's not a revolving door. It's not your A&E. They can be with us for weeks, months, years, and yeah, I think that's why we love what we do. We make relationships with not just Florrie but Freddie, Big Brother Fred's.
Crazy big brother.
Yeah, crazy big brother. And Mum's dad, Stacey, Andrew. Like, it's International Women's Day, and I think we want to shout out to Stacey because she's our inspirational woman as well as Florrie.
The strength of parents come through. You must see that all the time. Because, you know, you're just put in that position, the most unimaginable position, and suddenly you just have to find that strength, don't you?
It's like a club that nobody wants to be part of, but when we are...
when you are, I bet you feel like a world beater, don't you?
Yeah.
Like when you are part of that club,
Yeah.
it becomes you everything, right?
It does, yeah. It just, you sort of submerged into that world and you always feel for the families that are coming into it as well, and hopefully we can help them.
I was going to say, you must see people come through that are just like shell-shocked, like being hit by a frying pan, you know, that first initial...
You can spot a new family immediately.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yvonne, you help the families and you give a little bit more support. Tell us what you do.
It's family-centred care, and I think as well as we're caring for the patients on the ward, like Florrie and all the other children, it's the parents also that you actually feel for, and you get time to see his parents. You get to know them really, really well because, like Rachel said, they're with us for a lot of weeks, a lot of months, like years and what have you. So yeah, it's that little bit extra, you know, just that little bit of time and what have you, and it's just...
Listen, she's had this effect on so many people in so many ways. Like, even down to your choice of socks in the morning.
All right, Florrie.
Oh, my
gosh.
Oh,
I've done it.
Look at
Yeah.
You do that every day?
It used to be that I'd walk in the morning and say, Yvonne, what socks have you got on today? And I have to think about it in the morning. Has she seen these socks? And so I have to, my choice of wardrobe in the morning.
When taking like minutes of your day.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Open the drawer in the morning.
Yeah.
What socks am I wearing today?
And I know you got a bit emotional when you found out you was her inspirational woman.
Yeah, sat at the kitchen table and cried a little bit, and it's to make that difference to somebody's life, and she's made such a difference to everybody's life. You just see her on TikTok, on everywhere. She's just fabulous. And as a family, they're just an amazing family to have.
Well, people are
to
getting
know.
in touch. People
You know what
are
I
getting
mean?
in
It's-
touch. You affect everybody,
Yeah.
Florrie. Sue says, I would like to nominate that beautiful little girl, Florrie Bark, as my inspirational woman. What a beautiful little soul she is. Lydia says, Florrie's so inspiring.
And Ria said, Florrie, watching you right now has brightened up my day. Your smile and sense of humour are beautiful, just like you. Stay fantastic. Prayers you say strong and healthy always.
Oh,
wow. Thank you, Florrie. Look at this. Look at the joy you've
So
brought.
nice. And I'm so glad you got to meet him.
Yeah.
It's been me, Ben, Kat.
Yeah.
No, you've missed
Joel,
out.
I think,
Now
yeah.
you've got the joy.
Now I know.
You've got the joy. Well, listen, we couldn't let you go home empty-handed. Claire, Rachel and Yvonne, when you are able to take a break, our friends over at Champneys are gifting you a bit of a spa break. We've got some vouchers for you enjoy. We're going to basically get you pampered.
Yeah.
That's you guys.
Right.
We're going to go all together.
Are
you coming? As well?
She's invited us out.
What Champneys turned it out?
Of course I'm coming with you.
And for the Bark family, Rural Retreats got in touch with us. They would like to offer you a long weekend away at one of their beautiful locations anywhere around the country.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for coming
All of
on.
you.
Thank you for inspiring us. And happy Women's Day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have a lovely day.
We are also dedicating our
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Two of the real-life mums who inspired the drama, Tracy and Maggie, join us now, alongside Jodie Whittaker, who plays fellow mum Susan in the show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, ladies. Thank you. We watched the whole thing, didn't we?
Grip,
We had
devoured
Robert
it.
Carlyle was on the show. And we talked about it, and I was saying to you, I found the first episode especially so difficult to watch, as a mum myself. Can you take us back to the time when, before you knew anything had really affected you, what was it like at that time, and what do you remember about the dust?
Obviously, I worked in Corby on the industrial estate.
Yeah.
I travelled to work every day, 6 days a week. And we had a white car at the time.
Yeah.
And every night when I got home, I had to wash it because it was so bad. And it was a thick red dust. And obviously, when there was a little bit of wind, it was like a sandstorm that was swept up. Obviously, on the days that it was wet, the roads were just like a potter's wheel of red sludge.
Yeah.
But obviously, being in Corby and there was works going on, we just all put it down to it being normal mud. And obviously, when it was wet, and when it was dry and there's a bit of dust, it would, you know, the wind, it would throw the dust up. But it was so bad that on days we couldn't even have the windows open at work.
Really?
And you'd put your coffee cup down, put your sandwiches down, go away from your desk for 2 minutes, come back, pick them up, and your desk was covered, you know. And
Anybody questioning whether this was all right?
we did question it,
Yeah.
but because there was a lot of work going on and it was a muddy area that
Yeah.
they was, you just took it. It was simple mud. Nobody ever said, hang on a minute,
could
this
be
dust could be toxic. You know, so you drink it, you'd eat it. And
It was also after they closed the steelworks as well. So I think, like for instance, your husband, he was one of the people who were driving the trucks.
Yeah.
Did he ever suspect that there was anything at all?
No, it was just the norm. You know, he came home from work, you know, his clothes were caked in mud, and, you know, I used to just whack them off the wall because it was like, oh, I can't put this in the washing machine because there is just so much. And to us, it was just mud from the work
There's
site.
that scene. There's a scene at the start, isn't there, Maggie, where
Yeah.
your character, or you, essentially take your husband's clothes and you hang them on the washing line and you're beating them with an old carpet.
Tennis
racket, isn't it? And it's an interesting scene because we're sitting there and watching it thinking, well, and we know what that is, but that was just normal life for all of you. You just got on with it.
Yeah, because obviously if we did know what it was, there would be no way I would have done that. You know, So
And I think one of the things that for all of you, the tragedy was that these children were then born. You tragically lost Shelby Ann, of course. She didn't survive. Your son was born with limb differences. The character Jodie that you play, Susan, her son as well was born with limb differences. I can't imagine how difficult that was when that happens for you. And there's no suspicion at the time that there were external factors that was making that the case?
Nothing at all. We didn't know anything about it. It was only when we saw something a few years later on the news report about the children with deformities, and they mentioned toxic waste, that it was like a jigsaw puzzle being chucked at me, because when we were at the John Radcliffe Hospital with Shelby, where she passed away, the consultants couldn't understand why she was so badly deformed inside under here. And they actually asked if we worked with toxic waste or had come into contact. But obviously we didn't think we had. You know, neither of us worked with it. If we'd have known at the time that the dust we'd have said, well, hang on a minute, yes. But we didn't know. So it wasn't till then that the pieces started to come together for us, and we realised.
Because I think also, Maggie, what happens is when something like that happens, when you have a child, you feel... You go, well, what could I have done differently? Did I do something wrong? Was it this? Was it eating microwave food? Was it... You must have felt a massive sense of kind of guilt almost.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think that's one thing that all the mums have said, you know, that was, you know, it's like, what has happened? What's went wrong? Yeah, what have I done wrong? So it's...
So when you've asked all those questions of yourself, to suddenly see this and then a group of mums in the town where you are come together, what was that like, Maggie, when you all suddenly met the other mums and started to...
It was just overwhelming, really. I think the first time we seen it, the local paper, the Evening Telegraph, I kind of read it, and I was kind of like, read it again, and I was thinking, I said to Derek, is this where you worked? Is this what you... And he was like, yeah, it was. And so it was like hang on a minute, this is way too coincidental that this has happened, and, you know, you have worked moving this. You know, Derek had a work van. You know, I used to go in it sometimes. It was just, I lived in a world of mud, really. Well, what I thought was mud, but so it's
and
crazy.
when you all got together, was there a moment where you just felt almost a sense of relief in terms of there are other people in the same situation? And was there an immediate shorthand between you all and a need to actually, you know, find some form of justice, essentially?
I think once we knew that there was more of us and we weren't alone, and all of us knew that the council had done wrong and they were trying to cover it up, and they kept saying, oh, the mums are just doing this for money, they're gold diggers, they're trying to make a name for themselves. And it was question, you know, little things like that. And then we were like, nah, we're going to fight you all the way, and we're going to prove that we are correct in that we've done the reclamation negligently. And that's what we done. So as a group, we were strong enough to do it, where I think if we'd have been individuals, it would have been different. So, and for me, it was always a case of, I felt quite alone, because obviously Shelby's case was very different to the other 19 mums. But since Toxic Town's been out, I have got a great sense of comfort, because the amount of people that have come forward that have got children and babies born at the same time with heart defects and internal organ defects. I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear.
From the region as well?
Same area.
Could well have been.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, you know, it's really sad that other children have been affected by this, but in a way it's comfort, because I know now that Shelby wasn't the only one that had...
Although she wasn't included in the case, was she? Because your lawyer felt like you had more of a chance of winning if it was the children with limb differences rather than her internal organs.
That's right, yeah. And at the end of the day, they had to do what was best for the 18 children, because it was what they were about. They need a better quality of life.
Jodie, it's the most remarkable story. They are the most remarkable group of mums as well. And when you get shown a script like that, I can't imagine what you begin to sort of contemplate before you think about even taking it.
I think it's one of those things where there isn't really a question of whether you're going to take it or not. You receive something, particularly, as we know from previous work as well, Jack, who you guys obviously have spent a lot of time with, the writer, he's such an extraordinary writer, and he's so detailed and he's so respectful if it is material that has come from a real event. You know that the level of work that has gone into that is beyond. So the opening scene that you read, you're in it, you want to do it from my point of view, I'm instantly terrified because I think the opening scene is karaoke in a Glaswegian Corby accent. I was like,
and you've
got that
Robert
down.
Carlyle there as well.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
So I wasn't in eye contact. I was eyeballing Robert at that point. But yeah, so there's things like that where you go, right, okay. But the instantly, something that, you know, has a lot of density within the actual facts of the case. That was that I thought was so cleverly done with the script, because it has to be the story that has happened, but in that there is a lot of vocabulary and density to. It's an incredibly cerebral part of the story when you are trying, when you know everyone's trying to work out why this has happened, but to make that. From rather than having, I would say, the most important part of it, which is the mums, be the outside of that. They are the beating heart of the story, and it's from their perspective. And I think that is the thing that is so important about this, is that it's from the point of view of the families.
It's why it's so compelling, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually the character that you play, Susan, is the real protagonist. I mean, when you say the beating heart, like she really is. And she's kind of, you know, she doesn't move in those circles. She doesn't move in, you know, in the world of law. But somehow she kind of rallies everybody.
Yeah, and I think
gets everybody together.
I think this is the thing that's really brilliant, is that everybody, you know, and having chatted to Susan as well, I feel like I can say this without her being here, that she feels as if this is a representation of you guys in so much as it's not. These characters haven't been diluted, and what I loved about playing Susan was that there is a lioness with and absolutely representative of you guys as well, is that you've got your cubs in your teeth, and no matter how much someone is trying to keep you in a cage, you're like pushing out of it. And I thought it was just so powerful that it didn't mean changing your personality to conform, because it's not only what your guilt is, and I'm only saying this from the actor's point of view, but there was, you know, the suggestion that your behaviour in pregnancy or your lifestyle choices have done this.
Yes.
And even at the last second of, you know, after years and years and people coming together, still to be the people potentially suggestion of blame is horrific.
Especially in those court scenes where they're trying to chip away.
Yeah.
They're trying to chip away at that confidence. The sense of responsibility, though, must have been huge for you and for the rest of the cast.
I think for the cast, and I think we've all seen as well, you know, we were shooting, I think, or maybe I can't think timing-wise, but we know what powerful television can do. You know, last year it was such a huge event. So in that, you want to know that if you are representing a real-life case, that everybody feels represented. And I think
missed debates in the post office, I think you're talking
about.
Yeah,
of course, the impact
of social dramas.
Of social drama, but that has a life beyond its event. And I think that what was so wonderful for us, because us guys met on set towards the end of filming, and it was like a very, you know, it was a big deal, and it had been long. We were waiting for this day, and we knew the date and everything. And it was on a day that I knew I spoke as well, so I was absolutely terrified that Susan was going to listen, and she didn't strike me as someone that'd keep her opinion. But I think it was very emotional for all of us.
Yeah.
It was, and that photo is beautiful because it is like we are all stood together, and we are side by side together, and we've played pretend, but you know
they lived it.
Yeah, you guys lived it.
Yeah.
Maggie, I wonder what you feel. I mean, it's interesting listening to Tracy say that actually people have contacted us since the draft have come out.
Yeah.
The impact of Toxing Town and what that might lead to.
Wow. You know, we've all been blown away with messages of support, and also, though, messages from people who are concerned that they may have been, you know, affected in, you know, different ways. And so that's another thing that we think is really important, to kind of try and support those people and to, you know, kind of direct them as best we can. You know, I think there is a few journalists looking into, you know, they're trying to kind of find numbers and just see if there is another kind of cluster. And yeah, because that's really important to us. And I think mentioning all the other mums as well that were in the story, because obviously they're not all in the drama, but they are at the heart of this as well. And, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing the drama is definitely full of, is heart.
It's just extraordinary. You are extraordinary.
Brilliant.
Did Susan feel like you did her karaoke justice, though? Have you
That's her favourite bit, she said.
Her favourite bit. And her fighting as well.
That and the punch up.
Yeah, the punch up. It's an extraordinary
It
drama.
is.
It's gripping. The first one is so heartbreaking, and then
is.
watching the strength that you all have to fight and get that justice. Can't imagine what that day was like when you won the case as well. Thank you for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank
Jodie, it's
you.
amazing. Thank you as well.
Thank you.
For being here. Toxic Town is on Netflix. We can't recommend it enough. Come
No,
on.
it's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
For that, though, it's thought that more than 1 million adults in the UK are living with bipolar disorder. That's about 30% more than the number of people living with dementia.
And yet it remains widely misunderstood and often goes undiagnosed.
Well, Chef Heston Blumenthal has spent his entire life unaware that he has bipolar. That was until his symptoms spiralled out of control.
In honour of Bipolar Awareness Month, Heston joins us now to share his story. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to see you,
Yeah,
Heston. Glad
it
you're
is
well.
Yeah,
lovely to
likewise.
see you. And you really want to take the stigma away from this and
Yes.
really draw awareness to it as well, because you weren't diagnosed. You spent most of your life just thinking you had ADHD.
Yeah, it was about 13, 14 months ago when I ended up being sectioned. And then I got the diagnosis. I had no idea. I mean, I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2017.
Okay.
So there's quite a big crossover between ADHD and bipolar.
Similar symptoms.
Similar symptoms, yes. And so I really didn't think about it until you have these sort of manic highs and then drop into these lows. And when you're on the manic highs, you get this sense of, I don't know, grandiosity. You think, I'm Superman, I want to save the world and everything's beautiful and ideas just pouring out. And then something happens and it's a bit like an overactive child that's really having a great time, and then someone moves something and then they have a mini tantrum.
Yeah.
And then you can go into this sort of, let's say, darker moments. And I think that I was so consumed when on the manic highs.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it that much. And someone asked me, now, it was the best thing that could happen, being sectioned. My wife had me sectioned.
It was very brave of her, though.
And I imagine awful for all of you at the same time.
Yeah, she didn't know if I'd blame her so much that there was resentment built up, but it saved my life. The best thing that could have happened to me. So I spent 2 months in there, then off on medications that have continually been tweaked. And I can look back and think, blimey, with those highs and those lows, now I'm definitely in the process of stabilising.
Yeah. Your career, which we all know, we've been lucky enough to work with you and eat with you in the past, Heston.
Best in the world.
And of course, there was so much involved in that I imagine that when you look back, some of the symptoms of your ADHD and even the bipolar were probably focused or suppressed because of the hours and the commitment and the effort and the focus that you put into your cooking.
I wasn't sure if how much of it was related even to ADHD. I mean, I was so exhausted at one point, this is years ago. I was caramelising a lemon tart. So you get the blowtorch, turn the gas on, press the button and light the blowtorch, and then caramelise it with the sugar. So I turned the gas on, I walked to the hot tap, and I remember thinking, I can't possibly light a blowtorch with cold water. It was like something out of Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
But I was that tired, it was sort of delirious. But I don't know if that's because the drive of the cooking, being immersed in that and that imagination and creativity.
Yeah.
Because you were working 120 hours a week.
Yeah.
And sleeping 20.
20, yes. I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of talk about what happens to your imagination and creativity. I can say now, so after the period of coming out of hospital, I was a bit zombified with the medication.
Because they have to get the balance, right?
To get the balance. There's bit by bit, then returning to you still have highs and lows, but they're nothing like they are before. And the imagination is still there, which is fantastic. I'm back at the Duck now.
Are you?
Yeah.
So you're back creating, you're back part of the team, you're back coming up with ideas?
Yes.
Which must be really, really a relief and satisfaction.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
I've seen interviews with you as well, because you have been very, very open about
Yes.
this. You really kind of want to get the word out there, because the moment you have a diagnosis, I think you can start to deal with things in a very practical way.
It's so important. A lot of people don't know. And if you think about, you said there's 1.2 million people with bipolar, but there could easily be double or more than that haven't been diagnosed. But we've got to remember the people the loved ones. If someone's got the diagnosis or not, but they're bipolar, they're close friends that care about them. It can be really damaging for them.
Heston, what happened that meant that suddenly things started unravelling and these manic episodes became more prevalent? Had you stepped away from as much cooking, so you had a bit more time on your hands?
Yes, that's one really good point. I started also in the darker moments. There was sort of suicidal thoughts, and I realised after it's quite a classic symptom of being in a mania stage where you can hallucinate sound and smell and touch. And I saw a gun on the table, and I told my wife, which obviously was for me. It all seemed quite normal. I look back at it, there was nothing normal about it. However, I remember seeing an interview that Stephen Fry did. And he said he asked 30 to 40 people if there was a button that you could press that would turn off your ADHD, turn off your bipolar, would you press it? Yeah. And only one person said, yes, I'd press it.
Really? So all those people with bipolar said that they wouldn't?
Yeah, there are lots of positives. It's just not fair on eventually you're going to do some damage to yourself and it's going to affect other people you love.
And I think it's your wife's father that's a therapist?
He was involved in mental health.
Yeah, so they could see what was happening, and it was your wife that sectioned you. But was it then that the conversation started talking about, look, Heston really needs help? There could be a scenario where he has something like bipolar.
Yes, and I didn't believe them. Not? I thought it was all nonsense. So I got my diagnosis within the first week of being in hospital, and because I was in there for 2 months, I was being monitored. And I was just surprised when I had it.
Dr. Nigat's here as well.
Yeah.
And Dr. Nigat, hearing Heston talk, and he's so open and honest about it, which shows an awful lot of courage, but the importance of sharing. What is interesting is getting that diagnosis of bipolar, how important it was to him, but also how difficult it is for people to get the diagnosis. Why is that?
And it's an ongoing problem at the moment. In 2023, the NICE guidelines were updated, but actually what we don't have still yet is a national register or a quality outcome framework, or QOF, that GPs then can follow up patients and look at the assessment, and then referral systems and the outcomes of that. It takes 9.5 years for a patient to get diagnosed with bipolar. And so when we don't have a meaningful way of getting those assessments done, patients can be within the system waiting for that diagnosis, and we pick them up at crisis, as we did with Heston. And the other reason why it's so difficult to diagnose is because there's actually 3 different types of bipolar disorders. And you get type 1, where you can have depression, you can have hypomania or mania. Type 2, which you can get long periods of depression and long periods of hypomania. And actually it depends where we pick you up on that phase, because it could be just diagnosed as a depressive disorder on our letters. And then the other thing it could be cyclothymia, which means you can get long periods of depression or just be in hypomania, and that can last up to 2 years at a time. So essentially the diagnosis of bipolar is made by looking through the notes, as they did with Heston, once they followed up his pattern of behaviour. And it's a histrionic, it's looking back over his life and going, oh, actually, we need to consider this as a diagnosis.
So, Nigat, if those symptoms are resonating with anybody, what should they do? What should the next steps be?
The first thing is that I would say keep a symptom diary, have a look in your family if there is other family members that could have the condition. Your family will also give you a really good collateral history as well. There is a screening tool which is backed up by the NHS and also the Bipolar UK charity as well, which actually I'm just going to very quickly check the name of, which is a mood disorder questionnaire. Now, I don't say that people should self-diagnose. That's always really difficult because once you start putting labels on yourself, it can be really hard. It can be stagnating in how we can actually look at a diagnosis. But that mood questionnaire could actually give you some insight into where you are and how your symptoms are affecting your lifestyle, your work, your relationships. And then also, I always say this to my patients, you have something in your pocket on a daily basis, which is your mobile phone. So I know it's really awkward and it can be difficult, but record those moments of hypomania or those moments of severe low mood, because when you come and see us, we have now what's known as a single point of access in the NHS. We have what's known as the accurate system. So you can send me your video or send me your photograph as your GP, and we can attach that to the referral, because the referral system to secondary care, like our psychiatry colleagues, is all based on who needs the most immediate help and etc. So that can be really helpful.
Thanks, Nick.
Really important that they reach out as well,
Yes.
Hess, and you'd agree with that. If you think if there's family members that are concerned about the behaviour of somebody, because as you said, you completely flatly denied that it was happening. You couldn't see what they were talking about.
It's so important. It takes an average 9.5 years to get a diagnosis. When you bear in mind that the levels of suicide, well, especially when you cross over with ADHD, they go up, I don't know, tenfold or something like that. So 9 years is an awful long time for people to suffer suicidal thoughts and depression. It's a very sort of tricky disease.
And it's also not something to be frightened of, too.
Sorry, I just said disease. It's not a disease.
Yeah.
it's a condition. And don't be frightened of it.
No, because actually it's one of the things that absolutely makes you who you are.
Yes.
And the level of creativity and passion that you have about making what you do.
the skill.
The Willy Wonka.
Yes.
As Roald Dahl's wife said.
Heston cooked for on the Channel 4. You did Channel 4 show, and I was lucky enough to go. And we were talking about Roald Dahl's wife, who sat down with you and said, "I wish my husband had met the real life."
Had been alive.
Yes.
And that night, you created this edible wallpaper.
Yeah, we stuck it on with apple pectin.
That's right.
And then flocked the wallpaper. There was a sausage.
Yes, there was sausage flavour. Some fruit.
Cheese and pineapple.
Cheese and pineapple.
And then you had these. The flocking was in the shape of the food.
So the pattern, and we were all there licking the walls, just thinking this is. It was one of the most wonderful meals I have ever eaten and I will ever eat, Heston.
Oh,
you had
thank you so much.
And it's lovely to hear you're back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You feel like that creativity's there.
Yes.
You're still very busy and enjoying that part of your life.
Yeah, thankfully.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we're thankful too.
Thank you for coming this morning.
A pleasure, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So look, if you would like to know more about bipolar disorder, then the information and the helpline are all available on
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Louise Woodfield sat down to watch an episode of First Dates. She was expecting to see more hopeful Singertons try and find love. What she wasn't expecting was to find a long-lost sister.
One of the diners, Katie Kumar, caught Louise's attention after telling her date that she was adopted. And as her familiar story unfolded, she found herself asking, could this be my sister?
Well, Katie and Louise join us now to share their story. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
And the reality is, Louise, I don't want to give it away, but she was your sister.
Yeah.
It is the most miraculous, serendipitous coincidence, chance, whatever you want to put it.
It's crazy.
Lovely, but
Thank you.
Lovely.
But just explain a little bit, Louise. Are you a big fan of First Dates?
No, it's crazy as well because I literally never watch TV, like, unless it's like a film on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
So just happened by chance.
And it's just happened to have it on. And Katie, from your perspective, why had you decided to go on First Dates?
I think for me, I was at a performing arts college and, you know, we all like to be out there and I just thought it's a bit of fun. Yeah. And also I wanted to share my story about being adopted. I'm very open about it. And I'm really glad I had because now I found Louise.
So what did you do? Did you just open up on the show and what did you say? How much did you know about your family?
So when I was adopted, we get a birth box with a little bit of information, but not too much. Okay. My mum was a little bit nervous about me going on and, you know, because it can open up a can of worms. You never know who's going to reach out or, you know, who's going to watch. But, yeah, that was it, really.
So you went on.
Yeah.
You said to the producers you'd like to be able to share this story. They were happy for you to do that. And were you sharing it in the hope that maybe you might find your sister, or were you just sharing it because you thought, look, it's interesting content and I want to share it with the young lad that I was on a date with?
A little bit of both, and also, you know, I feel like first dates, as we all know, it's a loving, kind show.
Yes,
they look
very.
after you, and I felt safe to do so.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm really happy that I have, because on our recent post, people have shared their story, and I feel like it's a little community and, you know, a safe space for everyone
this
to
is since
share.
the two of you have shared what happened, because it was a
Yeah.
few years ago. So what happened then, Louise? You just happened to have it on in the background. As you say, you don't really watch television. What suddenly made you stop and think, hold on a second, that story sounds familiar?
So I always knew that I had a sister and that her name was Katie. There was a 2-year age gap between us. And I knew we were half Afghan as well. So I was with my friend at the time, and I was watching Katie's episode that she was on. And literally, I remember her saying that she was adopted. Her name was Katie, her age, and that she was from Birmingham as well.
Yeah.
I literally remember turning around to my friend at the time and I said, I'm going to sound crazy, but I think that's my sister. And I think she, like, laughed at me. Yeah, but then I said, I'm going to message her because I've got nothing to lose. Like, the worst thing she can say is no, like, but yeah.
Yeah.
So then you decided to message her. How did you actually get in touch? What did you write on the message? Because that's a really big icebreaker. It's like, hello.
I was watching you on telly. I think you're my sister.
Yeah, I think I just said, like, hi, I know this is, like, a weird message to have, whatever. I said, but I think you're my sister. Like, I'm also half Afghan. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really expect to reply either. So when I got it, I was just in shock.
Wow.
Like,
And so, Katie, did you reply immediately, or did you kind of look at it and go, this is very close to home?
Yeah, so I was getting quite a few messages at that time, just because people were being really kind about the show. And so I was a little bit apprehensive, a little bit confused. I was a bit like, is this real? Because you never know. So I ran downstairs and I went to my mum, look at this. I was like, is this true? Like, could this be? And she was like, this could be. Like, and then we looked in my box, and Louise, our birth mum's names matched our dad's, everything, and it was just crazy. Yeah.
And so then what was the next step? Did you decide to meet up together?
Yeah.
Did you go, because actually you just lived down the road from each other as well in your foster families.
Yeah. So within like 2 days he came over, didn't you? And both our parents were foster carers, so we used to having children and meeting people.
Yeah.
My mum just welcomed you in like her own, and it just felt so natural.
What's that moment like for both of you, though, when you know that Louise is coming around, Katie, you know you're going to see this person that you've waited your whole life to meet? How did you feel?
I was nervous at first on my way, but as soon as I got there, like, it was so special, like, and comfortable as well. Like, we didn't have an awkward phase or nothing, did we?
No, and I think for me, I was more excited to see somebody that would look like me a little bit. Do you know, I was like, it was a little bit weird at first, not in a bad way at all, but I just felt like
Did
it
you
was
find
really
yourself
cool.
staring at each other, just looking at each other's eyes, looking at each other's features?
Yeah, that's what I was so fascinated by it all. It was crazy.
Yeah. And so now what's your relationship like? Because I'm guessing that you're all of a sudden like, I want to catch up with all those years that we've missed out on. And I think being sisters as well, you would have been so close too. So what's the relationship like now?
Well, we're making up for it now.
Yeah.
I feel like we have made up for it. And, we've never been as close.
Yeah, we hang out all the time. I feel like we both needed this as well. And, yeah.
It's amazing, because actually this was a few years ago, wasn't it? And it was only recently that the two of you decided to share the story on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's all blown up since. How are you dealing with the attention and everyone suddenly needing to know about this extraordinary coincidence, this family reunion?
I don't think we expected to get the reaction that we got.
Definitely not.
Did we?
I mean, overnight it just kept growing and growing and growing. But at the same time, I really am glad that I shared it, because more people have commented how they want to find their siblings or have found, and it's just really nice to see.
Yeah, I think it gives
interesting.
And it gives other people hope as well. And in the strangest circumstances, these crazy things can happen. Do you have any other siblings as well?
We do. We have 3 older. We only have a small amount of information in our birth books, but yeah, that's...
Would you like to meet them? Is there ambition to do that, or are you just happy connecting with each other?
If they reach out, yeah.
I think yeah.
And do you know much about your birth mum?
Yes, not too much. We've got a little bit of a description, but yeah, not too much, really.
No. It sounds so lovely seeing the two of you together. I mean,
Yeah.
before we came on, you're all connected as well because you're all Brummies.
Yeah.
You think your
Lives
head
down the
teacher
road.
might be a relation of yours?
Oh, like a cousin that was mine, and then she lives just down the road from where we used to live. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So what are your plans for the future? What are you planning to do together? Are you going to go off and have like amazing adventures and stuff?
Yes, I think at the time when Louise reached out, I was only 17. So now I'm a bit older and we can do more fun things together, travel and make up all for them years.
Yeah, you've got to do it. You've got to go on adventures now together. Well, it's great to see you this morning.
It really is.
And congratulations on finding each other.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep sharing those adventures.
Yeah.
We'll love it.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.